to order. Got a couple guys that are very eager. It looks like someone will skip over the sheriff on the agenda and go right to the. Remind me to come back to it if you guys would please. Let's go to the agenda item: Rapid City Ambulance. That's good. I like guys prepared. This came up a couple months ago. We sent out an email from you guys. Obviously, Meade County is such a massive area. You guys have been going into Meade County, and it's getting more and more difficult to do so, is the way it looks like. So if you guys would go ahead, I'll give you about 10 minutes, and then I'll open it up to questions from the commissioners.
Yeah, you better do it.
Okay.
That's what we also do.
We don't need that. Good afternoon, or good morning, I guess, still. Fire Chief Jason Culberson with the Fire Chief for Rapid City Fire Department. Yep, I sent a letter a few months ago describing the plight and the issues we're having with responding throughout our response district. Just to give quick history, we took over ambulance services in 2003. From then a private service, American Medical Response. They decided that it was not profitable to be in this area, and so they left the area and we took over that service area. Why we respond out in the Meade County, Custer County, Pennington County, and a little small portion of Lawrence County. Well, it was set up more organically over time, back probably in the 70s, early 80s. I believe directors sat around and decided where those district lines would be in coordination with the location of an ambulance service or in coordination of an area that had an ambulance that could respond to there. So just real quick about the Rapid City Fire Department, we provide the ambulance service for Pennington County, Meade County, Southern Meade County, Eastern Custer County, a large portion of Pennington, obviously, and then a small portion of Lawrence County. We have 180 employees. About 140 of those are what's termed as a general fund, and 40 of those are enterprise fund. So general fund is what runs our fire department. Enterprise fund is what runs our ambulance service. So user fees are what pays for that portion of the service for our department. We run out of 7 stations and we do 22,591 calls. Out of that total, there's about 16,000 of those that are medical. So a total of 40 employees for the ambulance service. Got 2 supervisors. One of them is Division Chief Brent Long, which is in the back of the room. We have 2 billing specialists and only have 4 24-hour ambulances. 2 peak load ambulances that are on 10 hours a day. And then 5 stations, 6 CHWs, community healthcare workers, and some mobile medics. We can get into more of those, but for time, I'll quickly roll through these. So, started with 3 24-hour ambulances in 2003. We added the 4th in 2009. We haven't added another 24-hour ambulance since that time. We've added the 2 peak load ambulance, which has helped. But ultimately, the way we've been dealing with this is we do what's called cross-staffing. So those that are funded by the general fund, which are the firefighters and paramedics that work for our department also, they will be on a fire apparatus and they'll split. So if a medical call comes in, 2 of them will come off the fire apparatus and jump on an ambulance. So the city of Rapid City has been subsidizing the ambulance service for quite some time. So we haven't really added much other than those peak load ambulances, which, again, like I told a couple of the commissioners, surprisingly enough, our busiest day of the week is a Tuesday. So you'd think it'd be a weekend time, but it's a Tuesday. So most of our call volume is going to be inside the city limits, and that's what we're going to have to focus really in on for us. So outside the city limits, out of that 22,519 calls, 2,655 of those are outside of the Rapid City limits. So that includes the Pennington, Custer, Meade, and Lawrence counties. This in 2,655 last year. Yep. Less. Meade County, the unincorporated areas, we only respond 255 calls. Out of that, you do have Box Elder and Somerset. So Box Elder is our largest call volume area outside of the city limits and outside or all of the external area. And they do about 800 and some odd calls, 850. So Meade County, we cover the north boundary up to Tilford Road, east to Wicksfield Road, and down along into Elm Springs back to the interstate. So what's the difficulties? Well, costs have increased significantly over the course of time. Ambulance services in the past have been able to do this off of the user fees. Most of them look to do more and more call volume. At this point, call volume does not equate to more income. The amount of money coming in is not able to support the service anymore. Outside of Rapid City, it's become more costly than it is for us to provide the service out there, which is unfortunate. And why is that? Well, reimbursement has become extremely difficult for us. Out of all of the payers and how we receive our money, 72% of that are government payers. So think Medicare, Medicaid, Medicare, Medicaid, IHS, and VA. Then 10% is Blue Cross Blue Shield. The reason I bring up Blue Cross Blue Shield is they pay at the same rate as those other government payers. So we take what's called assignment. We have to, if we're going to receive Medicare or Medicaid money, we have to accept assignment, which means we take what they tell us it costs us to provide the service, which is significantly less, up to 50%. Some of them are at 20% in terms of Medicaid of what it costs us to provide the service. To give you an example, our mileage fee is $20.59 on a just if you don't have insurance, that's what we'll charge. Medicaid pays us $8.32. Medicare is $8.94, and Blue Cross is $14. Blue Cross Blue Shield is one of those that we did have to sign a contract with in order to receive the funds directly to us. After doing a significant evaluation, we found that it broke even at the 3-year mark. If we did not contract with them, it'd take us 3 years to get the same amount of money as it would take us if we just contracted with them, which is still significantly less than what we need to provide the service. Ultimately, the insurance providers are determining what it costs to provide the service. CMS just did a very lengthy evaluation of ambulance services across the country, including the state of South Dakota, and they determined our cost to provide the service is $1,080 outside of the city limits per call. So you can, just for a BLS base rate call from Medicaid, our cost is $1,080 and Medicaid reimburses us $255.71. Far less than what it allows us to be able to do it. So this is nothing new. This has been talked about for years. We've made a couple runs at this throughout the course of time, trying to bring up the issues that we have with the ambulance services throughout the state, throughout the country, and things are starting to get to an emergency throughout the state. This area is not the only one. Lincoln County just had a meeting much similar to this about 2 or 3 weeks ago. Davison County by Mitchell, same. So this isn't something new. We're facing a crisis throughout the country. We're facing a crisis throughout the state when it comes to EMS. So I wanted to keep I know we talked quite a bit longer and it was a lot more in depth, but I stand for any questions. And my friend here is Jerome Harvey. He's the Pennington County Fire Coordinator. He's assisting Pennington County in working through, they received the same letter. And so I sent the letter in order to try to get some action moving, because we have tried to just sit down, have discussions, come up with a plan on how to move forward, and things have stalled. So the letter came out in order to ignite some action, and I believe that's what's happening. So it's good.
Okay, and I appreciate you guys sending that letter out and getting this ball rolling, because it's as you mentioned, it's a crisis statewide, and Meade County has a lot of holes here with the area we have. Commissioners Liggett and Severn has been working on this from the commission standpoint. Would you guys have anything to add?
Yeah, no, we had a good meeting the other day, and I think Rhea has been working with some of the other contacts. So ultimately, I mean, the service that's provided is currently on track to be not provided at the end of the year, you guys have been more than kind, I guess, with providing the service. So, you know, Rapid City's currently funding all of the services outside of the municipal areas. So we as a county have to figure out what that looks like. My guess is that an ambulance district will be created for that area. There's a service availability from maybe Piedmont Ambulance or Doty. I think something like that, where that piece in Lawrence. I mean, there's a lot of little pieces that have to go together here. A lot of conversations that need to happen in the next couple months, but appreciate you guys for coming and explaining the issues as we keep moving forward. So, Rhea, do you have anything?
I would just like to add for clarification for the public that the only tax district the county could establish would have to be county-wide. We're not allowed to just take a sector of Meade County and make it into its own district as a county levy. So any district that would be formed would have to be done at a smaller level. That would have to essentially come from the public.
And there's only two taxing. There's only two taxing districts. Taxing districts.
Correct. We have, and I will put on the map. We have Piedmont Ambulance District, and we have rural Meade County Ambulance District.
So anything, if the county were to implement that countywide, those two taxing districts would pay their taxing district plus a county taxing district.
And don't be confused by this map. This is a response area map. Enning and Faith do not have tax districts.
Commissioner Severn, you were at that meeting the other day.
Oh, yeah, just kind of some eye-opening information. Austin, the burden it puts on. So, I mean, that was a very valuable meeting to have. Rich is saying, you know, there's a lot of stuff that in a short amount of time.
Mike?
It's amazing the difference of what it costs for ambulance service depending upon where you're at. In Sturgis, we all pay through our levy. And then, what did they end up charging on Eastern Meade County? Was it 50 or 100?
The rural Meade County Ambulance District charges $75 per residential house, and I believe that's per 911 address, actually, and $150 for a commercial business.
Yeah. Well, and I just happened to be looking up taxes for an individual in Piedmont on another subject. And former Commissioner Ted Seaman used to complain about how he was paying more for ambulance service than he was on his county taxes. But right now, this particular individual is paying $325 a year for ambulance district service for Piedmont. So, yes, that excludes fire. Thanks. Yes, it's 122. So, you know, I think that's a pretty fair price to have emergency services available, because you never know when you're going to need them. But it's really scary to cross South Dakota because it's pretty vacant out there.
Rhea, could you, and like you just mentioned, there's various ways the rural ambulance service charges per house.
That may not be the most ideal situation.
But as you said, to set it up district-wide, the county could not do that. It would have to be set up by the citizens in that area.
Correct. It would have to be a grassroots effort.
Any other questions, comments? Well, I appreciate you guys coming in today, and do you guys have anything else?
Jerome Harvey, Pennington County Fire Administrator. Mr. Chairman, I would invite you to have a tri-county meeting, the Pennington County Commission and the Custer County Commission, along with all the agencies that are affected, as this not only affects southeastern Meade County, but it affects a large portion of Pennington County and a large portion of eastern Custer County east of the gate that are all dealing with this issue. Includes 4 cities, 3 counties, and 4 townships. So I would encourage you to follow up with our county and with the Custer County Commission, have a tri-county meeting on this issue. Because the county commissions, I understand what Rita's saying, but it does involve the county commissions as far as acceptance of the district, so on and so forth. The other aspect is not kicking the can down the road any further on this, is there's been 2 efforts over the past 2 legislative sessions in Pierre to require this of cities and counties. Currently, you are not required to as a county, but there is definitely a strong effort underway to require this. So I would encourage you to have that tri-county meeting, get ahead of this, and so that you're making your decisions, the decision isn't being made in Pierre for you.
Okay, and yeah, you just is exactly what I was going to say. I was going to encourage you guys to help with the 2 commission liaisons that we have assigned to this as of right now to keep INRIA, to keep working on this. And yeah, as importantly is the areas up north. For instance, where I live, I know Faith and Enning have been struggling for a while too. I don't know how big you want this meeting, but I guess I'm going to leave that up to you guys. As far as if Perkins or Zebach needs to be involved as well. So, but if you guys want to keep coordinating with the 2 commission liaisons and Rhea, I'd appreciate that, because this is something we need to get figured out. There's no doubt about that. I know me personally, I've had to call ambulances a couple times on our ranch, and it's sure nice to know when you guys get there. So,
Mr. Chair, Jordan Neeb from the Pennington County Commission Office was actually going to coordinate a meeting. He was going to put that together and send an invite to us.
Okay, wonderful.
And just for clarification purposes, a ambulance district can cross county borders.
Oh, good. Wonderful. Okay, well, thank you. Let's keep the ball rolling. Appreciate it. Okay, brings us to, we skipped over some sheriff. There's some items that he was requesting surplus on. So we have to start the surplus process on this. Is typically what we do, and then they get them appraised, or is he? I had a conversation with Sheriff West yesterday, but looks like
it has been appraised, but
Unless you're taking them to action, you got to get them appraised.
yeah, okay. Some of these radios he was wanting to see if some of the fire departments could use. I think Scott just left the room. Asked Sheriff West if he had reached out to the fire departments, because I know they've gotten new radios. I don't know if they need them.
Well, you know, I hope he doesn't get rid of all those analog radios, because when we had that power outage, the only communication they had was via the analog. The digital didn't work.
Okay.
It was amazing.
What do we want to do with these items?
Approve them now. Go get them all appraised.
Okay, is that in the form of a motion?
Make a motion to allow that to declare this surplus and have the sheriff
put together appraisals for the items and bring back the appraisals from us.
I'll second.
Motion and second on the floor to have the sheriff's office get these all appraised and bring back the values. Is that it?
Mr. Chair? Mr. Klebrad, was there discussion that if the radios were to be donated to a fire department that there would not need to be appraisals done on those?
Correct.
Correct.
We don't. I called Sheriff West yesterday.
If it is a taxing entity, I mean, if they're going to do it to a volunteer fire department, then no, then it has to be appraised.
And the question I had for Sheriff West yesterday is I asked if there was a need for, if the fire departments are asking for these, or if because Scott Lensgraf is here, but he'd be the one to ask. He hasn't gotten back to me. Sheriff West hasn't. So if they don't need them and we have to sell them, we'll have to have them appraised.
The best option is to get the appraisal on it anyway.
And then we can decide to, yes. That's what I would.
Yeah. And I think the motion was to surplus and appraise.
Yep.
Because you do need to surplus to start with.
So that's
it's also his intent with the rifles to use them as trade-ins, which is fine as long as individually they're below the threshold value for having the sale.
But the motion is to have them appraised, so therefore
Correct.
it doesn't hurt to have them appraised, regardless of what happens to it.
Correct.
Or we could issue Smith & Wessons to the commission for our upcoming meetings.
Well, you have a cabinet back there. Yeah.
We have a motion and second on the floor to have these items appraised and have the sheriff come back to us with the appraisal amounts.
You have a question on the car. Are you looking, is equalization looking at that?
We are looking at it. We haven't made a determination yet. John and Mike were going to actually look at the vehicle and see if they felt it was a better vehicle than one that we currently had.
So we can still appraise it, and
Yes.
if it stays inside, it stays here.
Because we're not authorizing him to sell it. We're just authorizing.
Are you talking about JJ's?
Yeah.
We have to pick the method of sale.
You talking about JJ's pickup?
No, we're talking about the red Impala.
We have a motion and a second on the floor to have all of the items that are listed on this sheet, on this agenda, appraised, and for the sheriff to come back to us with the appraisal amounts. Is there any discussion to that motion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Brings us to facilities.
Good morning, Commission. Ben Petrocco, Meade County Facilities Director here with just a quick report on some of our February and early March workload. I don't have a whole lot to report other than what the KPI report shows there. We had a total of 45 work orders for the month of February, consisting mostly of our normal jail plumbing, door locks, and typical HVAC issues. We do still have a couple small remodel projects going in the jail. We're replacing carpet in the control room. We're kind of doing that as we can get in there. It's kind of a tough place to work because of, as you know, Doreen, how busy it is in there all the time.
It's been threadbare for decades.
Yeah, so, but luckily we have the smaller tiles in there that we can, do some at a time as we go. So still working on that. We're still working on the public entryway. Kelly got all the drywall repair and texture and painting done first, and it took quite a while to get the permanently mounted seating that we ordered. That actually showed up last Friday, so the guys are actually currently working on trying to get that stuff anchored to the wall to get rid of the chairs that damage the floor. And then once they get that done, we will go ahead and lay the new flooring in that area. Another thing we spent quite a bit of time on is now that the roof projects are complete on both buildings and we got rid of all the small leaks that we'd have every time, we went through and did a thorough inspection on all the ceiling tile and replaced everything that had any kind of water damage or water spots at all, and there was actually quite a bit of that, so that was kind of a time-consuming project. other than that, kind of our next big project we're starting next week is going to be replacing the last original water heater in the lower level of the law center. All the other ones have been updated. This is kind of the last one, and it's a large unit. They placed it and then built the walls around it. So the tank's too big to get through the door, so we're going to have to try to cut it in several pieces like we did the other ones in the jail when we replaced those. So we're hoping that we can get it out of there in a day and then, minimize the amount of time that we don't have hot water in some of those areas. We're hoping by the end of next week that it's plumbed back in and wired up and working, so that's our goal anyway. That's kind of all I have to report on projects for February and early March so far. Does anyone have any questions on that stuff?
Any questions on facility report? Nope. Move down to J2, CMA.
Yeah, our next item on the agenda there is our 2026 proposal by the Christian Motorcyclists Association to continue to run the parking lot security during the rally for us. They've been doing this for several years now, and we've always had good luck with them making sure that the county employees have a place to park during business hours, and then in turn they get access to use the lot to park vehicles at this building and then at the lower lot down here after hours for a fee to help fundraise for them. Some of the stuff in the proposal has just been kind of reworded and clarified a little bit better to make sure that we meet city ordinances with the use of the corner lot and stuff like that. I don't know if you guys have had a chance to review that proposal, but Rhea, is this something we're looking to try to get approved today? Yes.
Any questions? Sir, do you have anything to add?
I'm sorry. No, I don't have anything to add. I would say my name is Barry Eberhard. I'm the South Dakota State Coordinator for CMA and a volunteer. I am the one who wrote this up in 2023 and now. So you'll notice that Roger Wilson needs to sign off on it. He's a director with the Christian Motorcyclists Association. Beyond that, there were very few substantive changes. Certainly we will try to do everything in our power to make sure that the city ordinances and everything else on this document is followed as best we can.
Thank you, Mr. Eberhardt, for coming today.
It does sound like going forward that this is something we're going to have to get approved every year annually. So,
question: What all goes in the corner lot down there? It seems like there's quite a few things that's going in down there.
We were originally tasked with having vendors parked down there. That was originally what we were told. Primarily it would be a vendor lot. However, in talking with the county at the time, we were allowed to put cars and motorcycles in there as well. Now, in order to support that, we brought a toy hauler in. That's my personal toy hauler, which keeps water and air conditioning just in case, as some of our volunteers need air conditioning because we have had some of them where it was fairly hot days. It can be a problem. So we were basically trying to take care of ourselves, and they hooked up a 30-amp power hookup for us to do that. Also, we had requested a porta potty because, as you know, there are several up at the top of the hill, or we could come into this building. But if we had a porta potty down there close to the facility, we can still monitor the parking lot without taking too much time to go someplace else.
And I believe that the porta potty was provided by the city of Sturgis, correct? That's not in our contract, though.
It is not on here, no. And I'm sorry, I don't know who provided it.
Okay, but we're not obligated to provide that. So, like I said, there was a few other things down in that corner lot other than just the toy hauler. What all was down there? Well, I guess is important.
Can I clarify one thing? But
can I
first
finish
off,
just a second, Ben? I'm going to finish
Okay.
the question. What else do you plan to have down there?
Well, as I said, the primary function was vendors, and that means they will bring in trucks, and they were moving a large amount of, in one case at least, the product that they were selling down on Main Street because it's very convenient for them. They were right down in front of name of the One-Eyed Jacks. That was where their booth was at, so they were moving their materials and using pickup trucks, and I think they even had a side-by-side and maybe a four-wheeler. So those types of vehicles might be in there. Also, as I said, in the front part of the lot or closer to the building, we're parking motorcycles and cars, occasionally fairly good-sized trucks, but...
Well, you've had semis in there.
Correct. The Island Noodle folks bring in 2 semi-trucks.
What do they pay?
It varies. It's a kind of a donation thing. We asked them for $50 for the week because that's what I believe the county charges at the other.
County doesn't charge.
Oh, city charge for them? Okay, let me go with what I know. What I know is we were told by other vendors that they're being charged $50 per week to park over on the other side of town, but this lot is a lot closer to where they need to be.
Yeah.
So basically, we ask for a donation of $50 per week. Now, generally speaking, since it is a donation, it could be anything.
Well, it should be a whole lot more than that because you can't park a car for that for a week.
True. You can't, but like I said, we were told that that's what they were charging because we assume that they want more vendors here, so you don't really want to penalize them. You know what I'm saying? You want to bring in vendors, so keep the prices low.
Who wants more vendors?
The city, county, I
don't
know.
We've never solicited.
No.
Never? Okay.
No.
My mistake.
I'm just trying to clear these things up so they don't cause problems.
Because it seems like I've been thinking, because I'm in the garden next door, it seems like there's more big trucks in there. And now that I find out they're ripping you off at $50, you can't park a car for $10 and you move it. I don't know.
Well, as I said, it's a donation, so they aren't really ripping us off. I mean, they are paying what they think it's worth, and typically it's more than that, yes.
So
maybe they're ripping the county off then.
My comments, Ben, you've been involved with this site for a number of years, and to my knowledge, I've asked this every time. We have not had any issues, and they do provide a service to the county for kind of watching over our facility during those hours as well. So.
Yes, it would be very hard to try to keep people out of our parking lots if we didn't have them manning the booths, and stopping people from going in. So, I mean, that is a great service they provide for us. I just wanted to clarify one thing on the vendor thing down here. It's not, people are not vending anything down there. It's a storage. As he alluded to, it's a storage for what they're doing down on Main Street.
Oh, I realize that, and I'm not criticizing them. I'm criticizing, I think you're getting ripped off. And I think you ought to urge them to substantially increase their donation. If you look on any of the websites right now, people looking to park trailers, they're paying a whole lot more than that. And I do hope that the vendor that is using that is not the Hells Angels that's down there in front.
My other question, Ben, is we don't have any damage minimal damage on the grass from these activities.
Yeah, and that's something that is kind of stated in here too, is that we got to stay in communication with, the conditions down there, because it can get wet and we can cause some damage to the lot that way. But that is listed in here now, that we got to communicate and make sure that it's okay to park trucks in there and whatnot during that time.
But I mean, we've been doing this very similar agreement for 13 years.
Yeah, well, ever since, as far as I can remember back, for the last 20, we've had it on our lots. But this one down here has just been, I don't know, in the last 3 or 4 or 5 years maybe.
My opinion is, as long as you're monitoring that, it does help the county to have the CMA out there to help us during the rally. I'm supportive of the.
If I might add, CMA is not a business.
I know
We're
CMA.
volunteers, and we don't really tell people those kinds of. I mean, we don't just post a sign and say, well, you need to be providing more. We operate all entirely on donations.
I'm very familiar with CMA.
Yeah, sir. My questions, my questions weren't to be critical. I just I'm trying to think. The last time we looked at this agreement was maybe my first year on the commission. And when I looked at the agreement, it seemed like there was a few more things within that corner lot than what that agreement allowed. And again, I'm fine as long as we have an agreement and we're aware of what's going on with that. You're a straightforward person. I don't think that was your intention either. So, and that was the reason for my questions, is because if all of a sudden there's camping, we're going to be in trouble. We can't allow that. We've got to be very clear of what can and can't go. I guess that's, Ken, if you'd want to come forward, I do have a question.
I do have something else I want to say.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think the semi should be parked on some of our hard surface. I know we have a lot of cop cars parked up there, but if they got back over there in the corner, right next to that wall, and then you would get more donations if you park cars or bikes or something down here closer. And
to be honest with you, we don't have any real estate during the rally to give up on our hard surfaces at all. It's pretty.
All of that's up there, even right next to that wall.
Which wall are you referring to?
The top lot, if you will.
The top lot over there next to where there used to be that law.
Yeah, it fills up every day to the max with cars. Yeah, with all the city staff that comes in. There's times where at 2:00 you can go in there and there's not an open parking spot.
Okay.
Also, I may have given the impression that those semis are moving in and out.
No, I know they're not.
They typically are parked, and when we have had the rain, the one spot that was pretty safe from any damage was right underneath those semis. They weren't moved. So.
Yeah, we've never had any.
I know. I'm over there
those.
at least twice a day during the rally.
Right. So I understand. We don't move them. They're there for the rally. They're there for the duration.
My question is on, it's 2D, at primary building lot, we will allow parking of vendors. Does that, and again, this is an annual contract, and if something doesn't work out, so I understand, and we can always come back. Is that saying we're allowing for vendors?
Allowing them to park.
Okay.
Not vend.
So parking, but.
Yeah. I would interpret that as you park there, not vend from there.
But if they're, okay.
And as far as the camping, I think that's covered by meeting all city ordinance requirements and
restrictions. I don't think we want vendors in that parking.
No,
the county doesn't.
No, and that's not the intent.
Yeah.
They go broke anyway.
I understand, but if that's clear enough for you, then I'm happy with that. Okay. Any other questions, comments on this agreement? And/or action?
I'll make a motion to approve the 2026 proposal for the CMA.
Second. Oh, go ahead. Holy cow! 3 people at 1 second. That motion is second on the floor. I'll give it to Doreen. She's the first one I heard. No, I'll get a motion second on the floor to approve this agreement with CMA for the rally parking. Any discussion with that motion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you, Mr. Eberhardt, for coming in today.
Thanks for keeping our lot safe, too.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys watching that parking lot.
Yeah.
Brings us to planning. Good morning.
Morning, Commissioners. Tanya Vig, Planning Director. For the month of February, we took in 45 total permits and license applications. Everything's listed out for you folks. And we did the permit type report on the back that shows there's an admin coordinator that joined our office on Monday.
Great. Welcome, Ms. Spencer.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You have anything you'd like to say?
I'm excited to be here and looking forward to participating in what's going on here in Meade County.
Yeah, we usually make everyone say something about themselves that they wouldn't maybe necessarily know.
Well, I am living in Sundance, Wyoming. Have lived in all over Wyoming and spent 20 years in Winter Park, Colorado, where I got to get paid to ski 170 days a year.
Oh, wow.
Wonderful.
Well, welcome. We're the easy ones to get along with, by the way.
I heard.
And I heard you have a great reputation, and everybody's excited you're here.
Thank you. That means a lot.
You know, word travels quickly in a courthouse, as you know. And as you know, you couldn't have skied much here this year.
No. Where I live in Sundance, I'm right up against the Forest Service, and I get about the same amount of snow as Meade and Deadwood, about 300 inches a year. So not having that much snow to plow this year has been kind of a relief.
Yeah, it's been kind of a relief here, too, except I want some moisture now.
I'm afraid of the fire danger. They just had a 5,000, almost 8,000 acre fire over by Gillette yesterday, so
Yeah.
I'm afraid of what's coming.
Well, welcome aboard, Ms.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming in today, too. Brings us to K2. It's a variance request, ordinance 10. The folks are here on that. That's when Terry and Sheila Richter, and David and Patricia Lloyd. You guys, if someone like come forward and spokesman like come forward and speak to that. And maybe you could, as they're coming forward, go ahead.
So this was heard on March 2nd at the Planning Board meeting for not to improve the road that's existing 22 foot, not to make it a 24. The motion was recommended to the Commission to approve this variance.
Sir, do you have anything to add to that?
Yes, it is on.
No, sir. Looks like you got it plotted right, so we're happy.
Well, thank you for coming in today. Commissioner Wyzarek, you're planning chair. Would you have anything to add with the planning?
Yeah, one of the reasons it was recommended by planning is this is actually a flat where they're taking the lot between them and dividing it, so you're actually the number of homes served by this road. And the road had been approved under the old ordinance. Wouldn't make any sense to make them try to improve that, and those couple of factors is what led planning to recommend variance.
Okay, and staff has no objections?
No.
Okay. Any other questions, comments? And/or action?
Make a motion to approve the variance. Second.
Motion is second to approve the variance request. Any discussion to that motion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you guys for coming in.
Thank you.
Chairman,
Yes.
who was the second on that? Thank you.
Brings us to K3. We haven't picked you yet, have we? Brings K3 on the agenda, which is a landowners are Mark and Jody Nash. It's the variance request.
Yes. So Darren Howie is here representing Mark and Jody Nash. They bought 40 acres from Mr. Howie. Their request is to add an approach 300 lineal feet from the existing road intersection. It has been looked at by Troy Eastman. The application is in and signed, just waiting for the variance to be approved. It was recommended by the commission for approval.
By the planning board.
By the planning board, sorry.
That's fine. Mr. Holly, do you have anything to add? Sure. Would you identify yourself for the, okay, thank you, Mr. Holly. Commissioner Wyzorek?
Yeah, it's my understanding Troy went out and looked at this, didn't see any issues.
Would you come forward, Troy? Go ahead, Commissioner Wyzorek.
And it's a larger lot. We don't expect to see a bunch of subdivision there because of some of the floodplain issues and the inventoried wetlands, so which is going to restrict some of the usage of it. So we didn't see an issue with allowing this approach.
Troy, would you agree with that?
Yes, I do agree. I mean, it's flat there. The sightline is fine, so I'd agree.
I did not realize it was all in floodplain.
Well, it's inventoried wetlands. The flood. So as I understand that map, that's not floodplain per se through there. That's the wetlands.
It's both.
Both? Is
yep,
it both?
They overlap each other.
Well, yeah. So then there's going to be limited development within that lot, more than likely. Otherwise, drive up the cost quite a bit.
And planning staff has no objections?
No.
Okay. Any other questions, comments, and/or action?
Show that on the planning.
I'll make that edit on the minutes. Yep.
You may have to run it back through the planning board.
It's in the minutes that way. It's just probably not in the motion.
Has the minutes been approved?
No, the minutes have not been approved.
Okay,
yet.
I'm
No.
still okay. Yep, thank you.
They're in
That's
draft.
what. If
Yeah,
that,
there could have
that's
been some confusion because I ran it.
Sure. Okay. That sounds really good. So, K4, Infinity Properties is requesting to extend the preliminary plat. Briefly, Ms. Vig.
So,
I'll have-
Infinity Properties preliminary plat will expire March 11th. So they submitted a written request to extend their plat by 3 months, which is allowable by Ordinance 20, Article 7315. Planning Board did make a motion to approve the extension.
Yep. Go ahead. When you guys like to describe what you're looking at?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you know, we've had some...
Identify yourself, Mr.
I'm
Bowman.
sorry, I'm Craig Ballmiller, owner of Infinity Properties. You know, we've had some engineering change stuff, and then some of the other engineering and stuff requested. Added a lot of time to it, so we're just trying to extend the preliminary out 3 months so we can finish up all the engineering. And at that point, I guess, plan on either local letter of credit or something, so finalized.
Any questions?
So a preliminary plat is good for 1 year, according to our ordinance. Is that correct?
Yes, it's good for 1 year after the commission approves the preliminary plat.
Planning approved.
Yes,
Yep.
and then in part of the packet, there's an agreement that would need to be signed also with the commissioners and the applicant. Oh.
I don't think it's
What is that agreement?
It's a standard one that's been drafted and reviewed by State's Attorney's Office. We've used it on multiple other subdivisions. For the
form agreement, just so everybody recognizes the deadline.
So it's extending the, it's all it's doing, Ken, and correct me if I'm wrong, if all that is doing is extending this, if we make a motion to that effect, it would be okay to sign, is that correct?
In addition, it's anticipated, is it not, Tanya, that they'll be back for a request for a variance to get beyond that 3 months?
That is what we're going to discuss after this meeting, if they can meet the deadline of the current 3 months or come back with a variance.
This is buying time for
So
the
signing of it is maybe unnecessary?
No, it would be.
No,
It would,
this is necessary.
Okay. Yep. Okay. So is there any other questions or comments and or action?
Make a motion to approve the request for the 3-month extension.
Motion second on the floor is to approve the request for the 3-month extension. Any discussion to that motion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you guys for coming in. Brings us down to L, Commission. On the communique, there's just some updates.
I'm sorry, I just noticed that the yellow is supposed to be deleted. I highlighted it in hopes that I wouldn't forget to delete it, but I did.
Okay. I was going to say they gave us an update last time. We basically have an update from Arts in Action. Comments on that? We also have a ballot for the SED, the Sturgis Economic Development Board of Directors election. Typically how we handle that is have the liaisons to that group vote on it, if that's like to have action on that, which is Rhea and myself.
I'll make a motion to have Commissioner Deering and Rhea make those appointments, or make those.
Motion is second on the floor to have myself and Rhea vote on the SEDC Board of Directors ballot. Any discussion to that motion? Hang on, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Brings down to commission updates. Any commissioner have anything to update?
I do. So I've been working with the Game Fish and Parks on their permit for the shooting range on Elk Vale. They are required to provide a noise study with that permit, and they're working with a third-party consultant to get that underway. The permit itself, at the very beginning, obviously would not have done any good to do the noise study because there was no shooting there. But Game Fish and Parks is working through that with that, providing data back and forth. Health and planning. Another one was we've had a number of comments on Haynes in the last week. So on Haynes, there is a spot in the road. It's there's a rough spot in the road. It's got it's probably 100 feet long. There are signs there to slow down to 35. I have watched that area, and people are not slowing down to 35 through that area. They're also, hopping lanes. As a county, we have 1,100 miles of roadway, and it's really frustrating to see people that complain about issues but don't listen to the signage. Signs are there. We are going to reconstruct the road. Just so everybody knows, a full reconstruction on that road would probably be roughly $15 million. We're about $4 million, I think, for the reconstruction that we are doing. Just got awarded a bridge grant. That's a $300,000 piece of us, and a $1.7 million bridge grant. So, and one of the comments that comes up is the taxes. $600,000 home in Meade County probably pays about $1,400 in county taxes. So it would take about the taxes from 10 homes to patch that hole on Haynes right now. So just in perspective, that's kind of an issue. Running a blade, each homeowner at a $600,000 home probably runs a blade for about 7 hours. So we have 10 blades. Each blade's roughly pushing about 110 miles, I think, of roadway. So numbers aren't in the favor of anybody, I can tell you that. And so please, reach out if you have questions. It's not like we're avoiding the issue. We just have 1,100 miles of road to maintain. So we're doing our best, and Troy knows firsthand because his wife, fiance, drives that road twice a day, and I'm sure that he hears every bit of that road. So.
And Talbot, how many times a day do you drive it?
No,
He's on Erskine.
I'm on Erskine Ranch Road.
Well, I thought maybe you drove Haynes.
No, I drive it once or twice every couple of weeks.
Oh.
But I mean, it's a bad spot. It's a turning spot there. But yeah, I mean, we have a contract awarded. It's going to get done this year. We'll just need to slow down. I mean, the hard thing, as I tell people, now that I'm not going to run, they ask me about it. I say, well, the hard thing is you get a lot of people that say, my taxes are too much and my roads aren't good enough. And you're like, well, which one do you want? And we try to find a good balance. But people seem to think that that they shouldn't pay, but everybody else should pay more, so they have a nicer house. Not everybody. A lot of people realize that you got to find a balance, but the people who tend to complain don't see the illogical approach of their complaints.
Well, a lot of people are also complaining, and they do not understand that there is a state law that says you have to take the low bid. And, there are a couple of people who want to argue that nonstop, and we ought to just change our specs, charge more, I guess. But we're also blamed when there can be driver error, and I don't remember how many times the sheriff has said they've issued citations, and I know you're not on Facebook, but they will show the radar thing, and it's in excess of 100 miles an hour. The interstate isn't even safe at 100 miles an hour. If it was, I'd probably try it. No, I'm just kidding, but
Yeah, I mean, I'd encourage anybody that really does want to know about the county is to drive county roads all the way to Faith. There's a lot of them between here and there. Take a highway, it's 2 hours. Take county roads, you're 3.5 hours, or 3 hours of travel. So, yeah, it's a big county. There's a lot and I think Troy's done a fantastic job. So.
Yes, I do too, and I also encourage anybody who complains about that to drive some of the metropolitan areas. When I went back east in October, I actually spent time taking some photos of all these giant potholes and stuff, and I thought, I'm going to have a slideshow someday about road conditions, and then I got a notice from Google that I was over my storage, and I went through and I deleted some of those, and I thought, I will just do that in my dream.
Thank you for supporting data centers.
Any other updates from the commission? Any other updates from the commission? Not, let's move on down to consent calendar.
I want to know where those people are that said they were coming today.
Let's move on down to consent calendar.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent calendar.
Second.
Motion is second on the floor to approve the consent calendar. Any discussion to that motion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Brings us to executive session. I think we do have a need to go in for legal, personnel, and contractual. Personnel. Okay, I think we're good. I think we're good. We have it. Is there anything that we need to discuss in exec?
Do we have?
maybe one.
Okay, let's go into, let's
Yeah.
do, there may be a personnel question I have. So,
Then I'll get some coffee.
legal, personnel, and contractual.
Make a motion to go into exec for legal.
Motion and second to go into exec for legal, personnel, and contractual. I need, is there discussion to that motion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We're now in executive session. I'll declare us out of executive session. I believe we've completed our agenda and all of our business, and I'll declare us adjourned.